Hello and welcome back to the GB Fantasy Football channel. In this episode, it's going to be a Game Week 31 mid-game week review so far on the Sun Dream team. The Premier League fixtures are now done and dusted. We're now looking forward to the European ones in the week, Europa League, Conference League and all things Champions League. We're going to be looking at who scored the points, who've disappointed and who, quite possibly, might have jumped us up in the rankings as well. Time will tell. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, and comment down below on how your week has gone so far. With those fixtures still to come, we might be moving up, we might be moving down. Let's see, shall we? First up, team review so far. The Premier League fixtures are done and dusted. We've finished on 57 points. Not as high as we'd have hoped, but still pretty high, all things considered. Our transfers this week were Asensio of Aston Villa and Isak of Newcastle. I went against the herd and I didn't captain Alexander Isak, and thankfully he wasn't on the score sheet in the 4-1 victory against Man United. I went for Bruno Fernandes, and so far it's only a 3-point swing. Asensio, in missing 2 penalties. For weeks I've gone against the guy. He scored points after points, and in the 1 week I bring him in, major disappointment. Another one, Martin Odegaard, another benching. When will this end? A double this week, a double next week. I plump for him over Cole Palmer, who thankfully only got a single assist at home to Ipswich. Will he play in the week? I don't think so, with already a 3-0 lead. It has, however, jumped us from second to first in the overall rankings, so hopefully we can stay there even past the European fixtures. In the early game this game week, Man City faced Crystal Palace. The team in Crystal Palace who've been doing exceptional away from home. However, this time around, even a 2-0 lead wasn't good enough to hang on to. Man City storming back in ways that we've seen many times in the past, taking a 5-2 victory. Kevin De Bruyne. The man has been a massive miss from this season. He showed his class and why ultimately he will be missed when he leaves at the end of the season, picking up over 10 points. A goal, assist. It's exactly what we've come to expect over the years from Kevin De Bruyne. Marmoush getting, once again, another goal. I suppose the big one for points-wise that we would have been targeting this week was Crystal Palace assets. Eze getting a goal. Unfortunately, the second one disallowed. Having him in my team though, great asset. Munoz. He's just been scoring points for fun over the last few weeks, even when they've been conceding goals. However, in this game, little to none. Just the 1 point for Munoz. And even then, that might have been taken away. 2 might even end up on 0. Poor return. And Mateta taken off at half time due to a poor performance. No injury, according to Oliver Glasner. However, can we bank on him playing the next fixture? For those of you who've got him, you'll be hoping so. Southampton 0, Aston Villa 3. In a result that we probably all expected given Southampton's poor performance this season. Aston Villa, though, going a lot stronger with the starting 11 than many expected. Konsa, Rashford, Asensio, Tielemans, and once again, Morgan the Machine Rogers playing from the start, when many expected him to get a much needed rest. This fixture showed once again what an incredible asset he's been throughout the season. As spoken about at the start of the video, Asensio, the man has scored points aplenty over the last few game weeks. In this game, however, 2 missed penalties. He come away with an assist because John McGinn scored the rebound. Not good enough though. Not good enough. He was hoping for 10, 20 points. Big letdown. Ollie Watkins started on the bench this game week. Marcus Rashford starting up front. Watkins coming on, scoring a fantastic goal. Will he start now in the Champions League against PSG? I think he will. For those of you who own him, you'll be glad on that front. A clean sheet, personally, much needed for the rankings. Ezra Konsa coming up clutch with a 10-pointer, a massive haul after his disappointing point score against PSG last week. Arsenal 1, Brentford 1. A heavily rotated team, as many of us guessed, with the Champions League coming up in the week against Real Madrid. However, some of the players that we expected to get rested once again played. Declan Rice, If you're an Arsenal fan like myself, you fully expected him not to play this game, let alone play 60, 65 minutes. Hearts in the mouth every time he ran forward, hoping not to get an injury. Martin Odegaard, a man who's been in my team, stinking up the team for weeks, 0 points, comes off the bench and gets booked. Terrible, terrible asset. Stay away at all costs. He's not getting the goals, he's not getting the assists, he's not even created chances at the minute. 20 points in 7 weeks. Awful. Saliba at the back, 3-pointer, giving away another silly goal, which what seems to be Arsenal's key thing at the minute. Not for the good one. Real Madrid clean sheet, an anomaly over the last few game weeks. Good assets all around. Bukayo Saka on the bench. We expected that one. He come on, he should have scored going around the goalkeeper, opted not to shoot. In this one, unless you had Declan Rice, he was lacking on the points front. Chelsea 2, Ipswich 2, in what was a fairly decent game. However, the players who we have, who many of you have, only scored small amounts of points. Cole Palmer coming up with a 6-pointer, assisting just the one goal once again. Not scored in over 10 game weeks. At least it feels like that anyway. The man costs a lot of money in our teams. I got rid of him this week, but he still outscored the man who I would have replaced him for. The Chelsea defence, once again, a rotation risk. With the Conference League coming up in the week, I can once again say they're going to do exactly the same, especially with the 3-0 victory currently looming over that fixture. Will Cole Palmer play? I don't think so. He might come off the bench for a few minutes in that one, but I don't see him starting, especially with how Chelsea have managed his minutes this season. Other assets in this game, not really to be looked at. You've got Jackson up front, once again, firing blanks. I won't go near Chelsea unless absolutely necessary when it comes to our teams. Liverpool 2, West Ham 1. This will be a short and sweet clip for the video. Most of us simply owning Mohamed Salah, coming up with the assist as he has done for many times during this season. As you would have seen in one of my previous videos, I was close to taking him out. At least it was certainly an option, but you just can't. The man is inevitable when it comes to assisting, scoring, point scoring. He's almost a guarantee on this game. Some of you might still have Van Dijk. That goal would have been extremely handy for the leaderboards, but for those of who's taken it out, it would have been a bitter blow. Not many other Liverpool assets knocking around in their teams this time of year with no doubles, but it was a good victory for Liverpool, and the league title will be going to Anfield this season. Wolves 4, Tottenham 2. In another season, Tottenham would have been in serious trouble for relegation. Their form has been pretty poor when it comes to the league this season. Still going in the Europa League, 1-1 draw in the week with all to play for in the second leg. But they turned up with a stronger team than most would have anticipated. Pedro Porro, probably the most owned asset when it comes to Tottenham, on the bench. Big disappointment for those of you who kept him, but with his big haul last week, maybe he can score big for you in the Europa League in midweek. Heung-min Son, a man who was in my team last week, performed very poorly as well. Thankfully, I got rid. He wasn't even in the squad going into this game week, which would have been a massive disappointment points-wise, especially coming off the back of how poorly he did. Other assets knocking around, not really. James Maddison scoring a few points here and there, but playing. Whereas at the start of the season, he wouldn't have even played in these fixtures. Tottenham, too much rotation risk currently. And last but not least, Newcastle 4, Manchester United 1. In a game where I was hiding behind the back of the chair, having captain Bruno and not Isak. Newcastle scoring 4 goals. I got very, very lucky. He had one cleared off the line. He got the assist for the first goal, but only a 3-point difference currently between Bruno and Isak. I got away with one massively. But with Bruno playing Lyon in the week and Isak with a tricky fixture at home to Palace, who their away form prior to the weekend been very good since the turn of the year. Maybe I can pull a few points back on that front. Other assets, Trippier doing well for Newcastle despite conceding a goal. The Man United back 5 and goalkeeper, heavily changed this week. Youngsters playing at centre-half, the goalkeeper, after his poor performance in the week, Onana dropped from the squad completely. It looked weak at the start, but going from the news, they will be back for their Europa League fixture. In this game, even the impeccable, the 90-minute man himself, Bruno Fernandes, getting brought off in the 82nd minute. The manager knew the game was up. He will play the 90, maybe even the 120 minutes if needed on Thursday night. And that is one of the great things when it comes to Bruno. Garnacho, great finish. Can he be an option in the next few weeks? If his minutes continue, most definitely. And the Man United striker front, Xerxes, is an okay asset. He's never going to get you too many points. I won't be going there. And that concludes the mid-game week 31 review. Comment down below on how things have gone so far in your team. Who are the big point scorers and who are the players that have let you down? If you like the content, please like and subscribe. There will be new videos in the upcoming days, and I will be catching you with a new video very soon.